welcome. Hi, I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. Today, we are going to be talking about living with morals, politics, and laws. Living with morals, politics, and laws. Because, we are living, a lot of people are doing things and they don't have any moral value. So, we're going to talk about that today. And as you know, that water crisis is still going on in Jackson, Mississippi. Right now, they are doing testing. They have as a matter of fact, let me pull this up. Okay. They're testing the water in Jackson, Mississippi on October the 6th, which is, I guess, this Saturday, at the Mississippi East Center at Jackson State in the California room. Okay. And the address is 1230 Raymond Road in Jackson. Okay. So if you want to go, you got the RSVP, and it's between 6:30 and 8 o'clock sharp. The email is bit.ly/3V as in Victor, 5B as in boy, TKQ. That's bit.ly/VW5BTKQ. Okay, so go to that website and register. Okay, sign up to get your water tested. It's on Raymond Road, 1230 Raymond Road in Jackson in the California room. Okay, at J State. So they are still having a water crisis, and that water crisis, part of it is politics. It's politics. Okay, so we can't let politics invade our lives like that. That it is so crucial that we get the right people in office. And by the way, on the 11th of this month is the last day to register to vote. Please register to vote. If you have registered, cool. If it's been a while since you voted, check to see if you're still on the road, because they are purging. Okay, check to be sure you are on the road. And guess what? I was just looking at some stuff, and our politician, Reverend Warnock, he's doing a job. Yes, he is. And so we want to get him in office again, back in office, keep him in office, shall I say, because I was checking into some stuff, and I see that for 2023, Medicaid and Medicare is doing better for the senior citizens and those who retired and those who own Medicaid, I guess. They're getting more benefits. So it is a good thing that he's pushing. He's pushing for better prices for your medicine, like diabetes, the insulin and stuff like that. He's getting prices capped on that. So for the medical part, Reverend Warnock is doing good. I'm going to give him a kudos and a thumbs up, okay? Because he's doing it because a lot of people who are turning 65 and you're looking at, you got to get Medicare. They sign you up for one way or the other. You sign up or you pay a penalty. But in signing up, you'll see that the prices are better. It is much better. You get more for your money. You get more, and you won't have to think about suffering. Okay, so it's a good thing. Reverend Warnock doing a good job in helping people out. Okay, and that was his promise. So he's doing that, and we want to keep him in office and not put this man in there who think he can do something and lying and all this other stuff. We're talking about Herschel Walker. Yeah, and he's getting into politics, but of course, he was handpicked by Donald Trump. And, he's going to use him as a puppet. Okay, that's Donald Trump puppet. He's doing he's just as crappy as Donald Trump. I'm sorry to say that. But no, some of the things he's doing is he's done in the past is just as crappy as Donald Trump. So we don't want that puppet in there. Okay? Because that's what it's all about, a puppet. So, Herschel Walker played football, right? So in playing football, you get hit in the head a lot. So getting hit in the head causes damage. Think about that when you're voting for him, okay? If you vote for him, of course, we don't want you to vote for him, okay? But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and bring in my co-host so we can talk about this politics thing. Hey, Reggie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great there, Miss Sylvia, and a shout out to our good news audience. I'm excited. Definitely want to encourage everybody to like, share, comment, and hit that notification button over at Square Mile Media Atlanta, so you won't miss a note, you won't miss a beat. When we talk about morals, politics, and laws, oh man, during the election years, they throw all that out. They throw all of that out. Morals, politics, and laws really don't mean that much. You know, it's almost a joke. And I have to just put the definition. Let's let's put Webster's definition of morals. Morals. This is a prevailing standard of behavior that enables people to live cooperatively in groups. A prevailing standard of behavior that enables people to live cooperatively in groups. And this is a European concept, this thing called morals. Morals, because in other cultures, you don't have to have a separation of behavior of how you behave as a human being. If we
Right.
just took the animal kingdom, it's they behave. You hunt because you want to eat. You kill if you have to. But in the colonized or the European culture, they come up with this thing called morals. Morals are up and down, meaning that whatever the controlling group decides to be morally correct, that becomes a law or that becomes an emphasized thing. For instance, you could say, well, a guy can't. They said, well, it's morally wrong for a guy to have more than five wives.
Five.
You know, you say, and people say, that's ignorant. That's not cultural to have all these wives. But yet, the European culture, they said, well, a guy can have a lot of girlfriends on the side, a lot of this and that, as long as he's able to take care of them. Well, that's a moral thing that's been adjusted based on one group of individuals' idea. Uh, it means something one day, but the next day it doesn't mean nothing. You can beat your
Mm-hmm.
wife, and they said, well, you could ask five preachers, a bishop, uh, a priest, and they said, well, what did she do?
Right.
I mean, these people ignore the things that they say. Well, morally, we don't think a man should hit a woman. But when it comes down to politics and things of that nature, morals don't mean nothing. You can change. A guy could say, just grab him and I don't know what. Just grab him and I don't know what. They say, well,
Mm-hmm.
he really didn't mean that. Now, so morals can change. That's the basic, you know, under or overstanding here in America. You can flip a moral over one day, it means one thing, and the next day, it doesn't mean anything. For instance, back in the day, it was immoral and illegal to sell alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's legal and it's moral because it's a law. And it was, to sell marijuana. You could, you know, what in the 70s and in 80s and 90s, all the way up to 2000, it was immoral or illegal to smoke marijuana. But now you got CBD oil and that type of stuff, so it's not as morally corrupted. And also remember,
Yeah.
back in slavery, it was moral to have a slave, and it was legal.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things are up for the controlling class of people,
Yeah.
and
And
that's my thought.
that slavery thing, a lot of people probably still think they could do that. The marijuana, yeah, they make it legal now because guess what? They can make money off of it. So
Oh
if
yes, it's
if
all
they
about
can
the
make
money.
money off of it, it's not going to be illegal, you know.
No,
And then that's what this country is driven by, money. And that's it's sad to say. And this is violence Domestic Violence Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Okay, so a lot of times back in the day, men thought women were their property, and they could beat them and have sex with them whenever they want to. It's not rape, though. That's your husband, but that's not the
Mm-hmm.
case anymore. And a lot of women don't stand for that. So for some men, it's morally right to do what you want to do with your wife. It's my wife. I can do what I want with her. But no,
My
that
property.
yeah, yeah, my property. Some women just don't go for that. Not anymore. But then you got some who are submissive and want to do right by their husbands, or they want to please their husband and stuff like that, and they still go with that stuff, knowing that they are unhappy. Knowing that one day they might break their jaw or lose their life, but they'll go with it to satisfy that man. Nah,
Right.
nah. That that's
Ooh.
that's not cool. And Herschel Walker, he's running for Senate, and he's
Oh.
getting accused of beating up on people. Because I remember him, a report a long time ago about him beating up his wife, jumping on her. So now, what can I say? And then a report come out today about Herschel Walker. I guess I have to say this about Herschel Walker, where
Mm-hmm.
he paid for his girlfriend to have an abortion. He
Wow.
wanted her to have it, and he paid for her to have it. But now he's anti-abortion in all aspects. With no recourse whatsoever, is without any exceptions. You
Mm.
cannot have an abortion. And for me, I think that is morally wrong. Morally wrong, because I'm getting these reports like this woman was forced to have a baby that didn't have a head. Why
Whoa.
would she be forced to have a baby
Whoa.
that didn't have a head? That happened. There's this other woman who has cancer. Okay, it's illegal for her to have an abortion, but yet still, if she's in her early term of her pregnancy and she got to wait until after the baby is born, that cancer can be spread all over her body. It could be detrimental to
Wow.
her, especially
Well,
and if
well,
she have children, she got to take care of too. So what's she gonna do? Just let the cancer rage her body and kill her and leave the kids without a mama? That's
well,
wrong. That's morally wrong.
well,
Yes, they animals, they kill cats and dogs because there's too many of them. Too many
mm,
cats and dogs, but yet still they don't think of enough for the people who want to get abortions or need to. They some of them need to. In those instances, if I was pregnant and I want to live for my children, even though I don't believe in abortions for myself, but if it came to that, for me to live, to take care of my kids, for me to get that treatment, I would do it. I
wow.
would do it. And,
Well,
and, and I
you
don't think a man should tell me what to do with my body. Period. Man ain't going. He ain't doing nothing. All he gonna do is stand back and look. No,
okay.
I'll be the one who's doing all the suffering. He shouldn't have to have
Yeah.
anything to say about it. No more than I'll
Ooh.
pay the bill. And that's it.
Okay. Well, you know what? I agree with you, my sister. You know what? I have to say this. It's a big hypocrisy here in America when we talk about morals and moral value. Uh, Especially when you look at maybe I can say this honestly, the white male. The white woman was brought over here just for breeding. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, During the time period where women generally died of childbirth, especially coming to a new land, a lot of you look at a lot of the founding fathers, uh some of those women was either young or they looked old. You said, man, doggone it, he was 40 years older than she was. They looked like they had been through hell. uh Child rearing was a hard thing for a woman, so a man would basically impregnate her, and he just take it for the team and say she wasn't gonna make it. Now, as we progress through the years, you know, you know, uh, women started to survive pregnancy. Okay, and when they started to survive pregnancy, if you look at a lot of these old movies that came on, all those guys, the cowboys, the rifleman, all these guys might have had a son, Andy Griffin. All the wives died.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go into details, but those women were dead before uh, they came out. So it becomes a moral issue about women, and especially when you look at abortion and things of that nature. Uh, there's a big hypocrisy here in America uh, about moral value. Now think about it. Now let's just take Herschel Walker. Now Herschel Walker, if in 1908, if Herschel Walker had done what he's doing in the last 20 years, they would have hung him. White men would not have aligned themselves with him. But today, the moral value shifted. It's not that important whether you beat a woman or not, a white woman, because this ain't a sister that's complaining. This is a white woman that say, and white women had the tendency to scream the moral cry, "Oh, he looked at me, he touched me."
Mm-hmm.
Now that means that these men have made a decision to say, you know what, moral values don't count anymore because we want Herschel Walker to win. See, when it comes down to politics, everything changes. Everything changes. You kick
Mm-hmm.
everything out of the window. Look at you said the moral values of the church, the mosque, the temple. They don't matter when it comes down to what their interests are. It's no longer, what Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, or any of those prophets said. It's what and how we feel today. Uh, the moral compass is always shifting back and forth, meaning that it's based on whoever the controlling group of people are. If you look at the evangelicals out there now, they say, uh, and I don't want to beat Herschel Walker name in there. Warnock has some domestic violence issues as well, but we ignore them because we say, well, those are politicians. It doesn't matter what they did at home, what they did in the bedroom, but we put it out there like it's morally certain things have to go down. But we find out that in the religious community, morals don't mean that much.
Right. You're right about that, because some of those ministers,
Oh,
morals
they
go out
beating
the
their
door.
wives. They beating their wives. They beating the girlfriends. They making in the Catholic community. They had more abortions than probably many of the states. A lot of priests. You say, well, are the priests having sex? Well, they doing
Mm-hmm.
something because the little altar girls and altar boys are somebody having sex with them, and they ain't not coming from outside folk. But morally, they'll judge you and I and say, well, you know what? You shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do this. These are what we call the hypocritical type people that have put things in place to say, this is do as I say, not
Yeah,
as
that's
I
right,
do.
too.
And that's the big thing about morals. That's one of the reasons why I think this younger generation is exposing a lot of the hypocrisy, especially here in America, where they say, we take the high road, we do this. We hold our heads up high. You find out that people cheating, not just in their marriages and affairs. They cheating in schools. You got doctors that have cheated. That's morally corrupt. A doctor cheated and got himself to pass a particular test, or lawyers that passed the bar that cheated. These are people that are immoral. We have people that are in every capacity of life, companies that know they dump fuel, bad chemicals on the land, and left for a group or people to die. A lot of companies up north, a lot of companies down south, uh, poison the land. You got people suffering, can't grow nothing. It's farmland. Nothing can be grown on them because the companies that were there before, whatever they was growing, killed the land. It's dead for the next 40, 50 years. People can't do nothing with it. You know,
Mhm.
so morally, these are morals that people have violated. The trust. A moral is a trust, some type of trust that you have between different people. You say, well, you know what? There are certain things that I'm not going to do or I'm not going to say because of my relationship with you. Now,
Yeah,
when
I
I
think
break those,
something else too with the morals and the chemicals and stuff. Like the
mhm,
pharmaceuticals are in the
oh,
pockets of the politicians, or shall I say the
all day long.
yeah, pharmaceuticals. They pay the politicians to pass stuff, even for the FDA. All that some of that medicine they get passed to give to people. They know that
Oh
medicine
yeah.
shouldn't be going. I mean, cause
Oh,
cause you know, even with the results of their testing and stuff, they know it's gonna harm people, but yet still they want to push it through anyway because they're gonna make a buck out of it. You know, they know
mm,
some of this medicine will it might fix one thing or put a band-aid on one thing and mess up something else. So, you know, and they know people can be allergic. Sometimes that medicine that they put on the market kill people. And they put it
mm,
out there anyway, knowing that it's going to do it. And those FDA people, they got their hands out. Hey, what am I going to get? Or
everybody's getting paid.
yeah, the pharmaceuticals say you pass this, we'll give you this or something like that. You know those people leaving out of there being millionaires. You
Oh
know,
yes. Well, you look at um and we could take the what we call the founding fathers. You know, they lift these guys up on a pedestal. George Washington,
mm-hmm.
uh, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton. These are great men of value and everything like that. And you found out these guys was just as corrupt and just as sinful as you could get. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
worst of the worst. But because we put a moral value on them and said that these guys exemplified the highest of highs. We found out these guys were low life. You know, these guys, they just came together and they did build a good product. This country, this experiment we call America, they came together, but they took it. It's just like they just rolled up, and when they looked at the people, they didn't hold the same moral values that they had for themselves and their families. They looked at the native people here in America as savages, ignorant, uh, worthless. They didn't look at them as human beings. So the moral compass that they used to amongst themselves, they didn't use it on them because they considered them less than human. They considered them to be less than themselves. So a lot of times we find out that the people we put at a high level, those were not good people. I always think about uh, what's the guy that started Apple computer,
Steve, Steve
Steve
Jobs.
Jobs. They said Steve Jobs was not a good moral person, even
Mm,
though he made one of the most friendliest devices for everybody. He was not a person you could talk to. He didn't, this guy was not a good human being. Okay.
mm,
Uh,
mm-hmm,
a lot of times you say, well, good business guy, good visionary, but his morals were in the sewer. Okay. Now
mm-hmm,
you say, wow, man, or we look at someone like Elon Musk. You said, man, Elon Musk, did this and invented that, and then later came on board with the Tesla, got a car that's good for the environment, but is he a good human being? We look at all these people, uh, Bill Gates, we say Bill Gates, uh, you know, did this and created that, but At the same time, he's saying, hey, not a good human being say we need less than 2 million people on the planet. That means he don't mind killing 8 million folk, eight
Exactly.
billion.
And that's
You
one
see,
person I do not trust.
ooh,
Bill
low
Gates.
morals, low morals.
Mhm.
You look at President Trump. Now, however you look at President Trump, there are people, people say, well, it is what it is. They will accept his behavior. Now, people will adjust. They'll say, well, a guy has to be honest. Now, on a scale of 0 to 100, you say, how honest is this man? And you say, well, he's down in the low, he's down in the low tens. He's around a
Mhm.
9. People will accept that 9 because they overlook. They say, well, he might be a low 9, but being honest ain't the most important thing. Then you say, well, can you trust him? They
No.
said, well, over 90% of the business deals that he has done over the last 30, 40 years, he has deceived the other person at the end of the table. That means you can't trust him. People say we can't trust him when it comes down to the casinos. We can't trust him when it comes down to the negotiation with the golf courses and the hotels. And they say we give him an 8. And people say, well, trust ain't everything. He doesn't have to be trusted. Then you say, well, can you trust him with his wife? You say, well, morally, they say, well, it might be hard not putting anybody down that's been married 4 or 5 times or had multiple girlfriends. But the church says, well, he who has the first stone cast it. Well, you compromise your moral because now you say it doesn't matter. Just like going back to somebody, not to push Herschel Walker out there and just throw him under the bus, but you say abortions don't matter because he had to do it. Well, you just threw your morals off the table. Your values, the things that you say, we go back to morals, a prevailing standard of behavior that enables people to live on cooperatively in groups. I mean, these are standards that you set. When it comes down to police, people say, well, uh, we police matter. The police matter, but yet at the same time, if somebody says we need to talk to the police and come with uh, a better program that can help the police interact with citizens on a better level, you say, well, they want to get rid of the police. They want to, defund the police. Well, it's not about defunding the police. It's about getting policemen to cooperate and be a part of the community, which they are in
Yeah.
some communities. But
And,
but
and
morally,
yeah,
go
that
ahead.
was one of the other things, about the Republicans. A lot of people talking about they want to defund the police, defund. It's not defund the police, it's reappropriate the funds. That's what it's
Oh,
about. It's not taking the
well,
money
they
from
shouldn't be
them, but
buying
putting it
tanks.
other. Huh?
Well, you look at what they were saying. The police don't need tanks. What was happening in a lot of these communities, like Ferguson, up and down in different parts of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, they were buying surplus tanks from the government. Well,
Oh, wow.
that's the police don't need that. The police don't need a tank to patrol Bankhead or Buckhead. But
Oh.
that was a show of negative force to intimidate people in the community. Now, what police department needs a tank?
I don't think that they need one. Not a tank.
Right. No,
No.
yeah. So these are
No.
the things they say. Well, rather than put that money in tanks, maybe they need counseling because a lot
Exactly.
of people they said I was nervous. I was in a situation before I knew it. I had shot this guy 8 times, and I found out that he was reading a book. Or in the case of a traffic stop, because the police were not trained, educated properly, or the training that they were getting was, not right. You get a situation like George Floyd, where the guy that's a training officer stands on the
Mhm.
neck of a suspect and kills him in 9, you know, well, all that time period. I forgot how much time he spent on George Floyd's neck, but he thought that was right. He thought that was morally right. He thought it was morally correct because that's what he said he had to do.
Yeah. So to me, polices are licensed to kill. So they say,
Oh yeah.
why you defund the police, but yet and still, when FBI, all they do is investigate. They want to get rid of them.
Oh yes.
Get
Well, the
rid
tables
of FBI,
turn. Oh
huh?
yes. The
Yeah, because
tables turn when it's not in your favor. Now the FBI, the police, they corrupt. They immoral. See, the terminology changes when at a whim. What
yes.
we finding now is when we talk about morals, politics, and the law, it can flip. You know, people say, "Well, you're not patriotic because what? You're not standing up or saluting the flag. You're not a what they say a Christian, or you're not a this or that because you don't support the new ideas that we have that support this." Uh, and that's those are hypocritical situations because people bounce back and forth
Hmm.
based on how they feel. Morals are basically emotional feelings, how we feel about something, how we feel about abortion. It's okay if I do it, but if you do it because I want to control the actions and efforts of you, your people, and the people that you influence, I make it a rule or I make it a standard that makes you look like a bad person.
Hmm. Yeah, and the thing is, they criminalizing these women to do that if they do it.
Oh yes,
Criminalize them. Their life is at stake, but you're gonna make them a criminal. That's
yes,
what I
yes.
don't like. Those morals, the rules and regulations, is only to benefit one set of people.
Oh
Yeah, that's
yes.
what that's about. Benefit somebody else. It ain't looking out for the whole country as a whole. You know. So
Well, that's never the intent. A small group of people establish things and say, well, this is going to be the rule. This is going to be what we look at, you
yeah,
know. And that small group of people, that minority, says, you know what, uh, this is what we want. We don't want we don't want to it could be anything. You say, well, we're gonna make lollipops illegal. You say, well, what's wrong with lollipops? Well, we decided that lollipops are not to be you know something that and they uh they can make a decision to make lollipops bad.
yeah. You're sideways.
I got to see what's going on. I think this for some reason this says system update. Let
Oh,
me
there we
hit this
go.
little button. Okay, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
But
Okay.
and something else, it is about what's good for them at the time, and that's got the rules and the regulation. But it's like when Obama was in office,
Hmm.
it was time for him to put in a new judge. A
Right.
whole year before the election, they saying no, wait till the new president get in. They wouldn't let him appoint a new judge. But yet and still,
Mm.
when Trump was in, a couple of weeks before the election, they pushing a new judge in. See, that
Right.
was wrong right
Well,
there. It's like, why couldn't
well,
Obama do it?
what's right
What's
and what's
fits
wrong?
their agenda. That's
Yes.
politics. What fits their agenda, the rules and regulations, what fits their agenda. And if you go against it, then you're wrong.
Right. Well, it could be anything. Anything that could be in the best interest. You can look at something like Obamacare. Obamacare, when you look at it, is a moral uh, thing that helps people. Okay, meaning
Hmm.
that it helps all people. People say, "Well, Obama didn't do nothing for black folk." But Obama did something that if they put this and they make it seem like a negative because they say Obamacare. Now, it should be a positive. I mean, white people, poor white folk, rich white folk, black folk, poor, should be embracing this because they say, you know what, we didn't have health care. Okay, we didn't have a way to make sure that we had the same benefits as a U.S. congressperson that's got the best health care in the world. Now, under the Obama administration, that came out, but then they make it seem like it's a bad thing. Obamacare. First thing I'm gonna do when I get in office is get rid of Obamacare. And people find out that if they didn't have it, especially when COVID happened, they would be kicked out of these hospitals and things of that nature. And a lot of people,
Mhm.
cancer, a lot of medical things are on the uprise. But they can make something bad just by a small group of people putting a different spin on it.
Mhm. Yep, they can. And I don't know. I just wish people would just wake up. Just
Oh,
wake up and do the right thing. Especially like the January 16th. Can't
hmm
understand for nothing in the world why these people are still supporting Trump and still say nothing happened. And they know Trump is not
oh,
loyal. He will
yeah,
throw them under the bus big time. If you,
quickly. Well,
yeah, but
well,
they still want to stick by and they support him. They rally behind him. They want his support for any office they're running for. Trump is not in office. Why they still running behind his tail trying to lick it? No, that don't
ooh,
make sense.
well, well, now again, if uh, this country was as moral, as honest, uh, I have to, uh, when it comes down to moral, I take a stance like Minister Farrakhan. America needs to shut up.
Mm.
See, what's happening. You take the January 6th incident. Now, people know that's wrong.
Yeah, they know it's wrong.
They know
People
it's wrong.
killed, and
Uh,
then somebody said it didn't happen.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but but for you, your church, your mosque, your temples to condone this and not speak out on it, there's something wrong with them.
Yes.
For you to ignore the fact that somebody tried to take over the country. Now, they say this democracy that we call America is a democracy or republic. They say it was compromised. Now, all the big timers, they say, well, it, anytime you go against the government, you lose an election, okay? But never in the history of America have Americans done what they did. Well, I think they did it under the 13th president Fillmore. There was an
Mm.
attempt to hijack the government, and Trump always go back to that incident. But that was the only time in American history that they had uh, an incident where they wanted to hijack the government, take the federal government on the federal level. And then this time when you have somebody, they say, well, we've been going by the book, so to speak. And then one day somebody comes out the blue and says, I don't think we should go by the book anymore. Now, all the groups that's supposed to hold a particular, uh, meter on stuff, the moral correct people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they threw all their morals out of the thing. When you go and you endanger and hurt people, and it's like a coup d'etat. Now, all the groups, they don't bring that up. The churches, they don't say nothing. They just put their head in the sand. Many of our politicians, they're not saying nothing. They just put their head in the sand. Recently, I think the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, and Donald Trump, you can't make this up. I mean, he, I think he's married to an Oriental woman, and Donald Trump made a racial joke about her. Now, it didn't mean nothing until he talked about Mitch McConnell's wife. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the moral compass don't mean nothing until it hits you or it affects you. Now, a lot of people have put their heads in the sand. You know, the things that you hold true. It could be the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Well, thou shalt not do this. Thou shalt not do that. But you put a uh, a blinder on and say, well, you know, in certain cases, uh, we have to go with it, and that's what America has done, especially over the last maybe 20, well, more than that. We'll just say it's done it with emphasis under since number 45, Donald Trump has come to be president. But they really over the last 20 years because we ignored some stuff that Clinton did. We ignored some stuff that the Bushes did, and we ignored a lot of things that uh, Ronald Reagan did
Yeah, but
because we
nothing
thought it
beats
was.
the cake like Trump.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, he.
Trump, he just went in and broke all the rules and regulations. He just made it
Oh
his rule, whatever
yeah.
he wanted
Well,
done, and it was supposed to go like that. Bypass the regular bylaws and regulations. No, no, and they let him, and they
well,
let
yeah.
him.
Right. And you know, in America, you have a check and balance system. You have the judicial, the executive, and the legislative branches of government. Now,
Mm-hmm.
now, one man, and he's done it because of fear. You know, when Mitch McConnell, who was the majority leader under the Trump administration, when he bowed down, the whole party bowed down. And they kicked all the morals out of the wing. They said, "Well, you know what? He's the face of the part. He's the face of the the the, the franchise, the Republican franchise, and we're gonna go with him." Now you know, I mean, they knew. I think the only person that had enough balls to speak out against him was John McCain, and he hated John McCain.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even
Just
go to his funeral. He refused to even fly the flag at half mast. I
yeah.
mean, now this is it's petty, but now none of the big time, the military people, you know, that was saying, you know, don't take a knee, you got to salute the flag and all this stuff. You got a major war veteran, and this goes back to morals, values, and all that. And you take a major war veteran, one of the last, whether you like John McCain or not, he was one of the last great American heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and you ignore the fact that he served America. The president of the United States don't even let the flag down in his honor. And then you got people that can hold their head up and say that was right.
Yeah. Oh,
So
and
that
the other
shows you the
thing,
hypocrisy.
yeah, the other
Oh,
thing he did, like, when the president leave, they supposed to put a picture up, right? Trump
oh,
refused to put a picture of Obama up
oh
in the
yeah,
White House. He
right,
refused, but
yeah.
yet and still, he took what $80,000 of his defense money to have a picture of him painted to go in the White House.
Mm,
He took his defense money, the money he been raising for his lawyers and stuff. He took that
mm,
money, had a picture made for him, painted to go in the White House, but yet and still he wouldn't put Obama's picture in there.
right.
No,
Well,
that's
and,
crappy.
and think about again. See, we look at one man, but when the morals of a whole country is compromised, see, it, when you look at, we can look at Donald Trump. We say his morals already been compromised. He's never been shy to let you know what he was going to do, what's on his mind, none of that type of stuff. What we have to look at is the other people, the people that have compromised their morals. These are the people that said we got high standards. Okay, you can't get into this country club, you can't get into this ballpark unless you got certain standards, unless you got certain morals. But yet, you've allowed this man to walk around and take over your party, the Republicans. You know, what's the lady Sarah Palin? Sarah
Mm-hmm.
Palin, a couple of years ago, matter of fact, her and John McCain, she was the vice president nominee, and he was the presidential nominee. But they kicked off what they called the Tea Party. Tea Party, at least they started to look at forming another party. But under the Trump administration, he took over the Democrat Party. And you know what? If you ever
Republican
look at,
Party.
yeah, the Republican Party, he hijacked the Republican Party. He took it over from
Yeah.
the first time he came on the stage. The Republicans, and this just shows you that morals don't matter in politics. When he walked on the stage and pushed Jeb Bush to the side, the Bushes knew immediately that something was wrong.
Mm.
I
I
mean, because
missed that
Jeb
one.
Bush, yeah, when they did the first debate, Jeb Bush was supposed to be the Republican nominee. He would have been the third Bush to be president.
Uh-huh.
But after that first debate where all of them came on board, and you never he you know he they pushed him aside. So morally, uh, that was a compromise. Once you know, and this is it could be Donald Trump or anybody. Once you figure out that people really don't have a standard, if somebody say, we got a dress code here, you can't wear a shirt without a collar. Well, once a person finds out that you don't hold that standard, they're gonna take advantage of you. If you don't, because they know you're a compromise. They say, "Oh man, all I do is slip them a bill. I'll be in there." They say, "Man, you can't go in there without a suit coat or a shirt with a collar on it." But I can get a guy on the door $100 and he gonna let me in. Well, that's what Trump did. Trump was able to infiltrate the party based on a lot of things. He had a lot of information on a lot of people, and people dropped their moral. They
Mm-hmm.
said, "Well, it ain't that bad." He said, "Grab him in the I don't know what, but that's Miss Men talking."
Yeah.
He said if he shot somebody in the middle of Times Square, that y'all are, he don't mean that. He don't mean that. And America dropped. They didn't have morals in the first place, but any morals that America had, they dropped them. They lost it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
went
They
buck
did.
wild. America went buck wild, and
Yeah,
this is what we got.
part of them is I don't understand why they so scared of him. I mean, just like when he got in office and they had Hillary on trial, well, not on trial, going through hearings over phone calls, email.
Email,
They
yeah.
had
Well,
signs, lock her up, lock
yeah.
her up.
Lock
My
her up.
neighbor
Yes.
had a big old sign on his name on his house
Oh
saying
yeah,
lock
yeah,
her
yeah,
up. But
yeah,
yet
yeah.
still, Trump can't get locked up. No, I say
Ooh,
lock him up. He done a
yeah.
whole
Well,
lot more than uh, emails.
yeah,
No, he
yeah,
taking files out of the thing, and he know he wasn't supposed to do that. He done a lot
yeah,
of stuff he weren't supposed to do, and they just let him slide by. Me, lock him up. He
yeah.
done too much
Well,
crooked stuff. Lock him up.
well, well. One of the things, and this, I don't think somebody like Donald Trump could have won an election if it wasn't for social media.
Mm,
One thing that social media did is it helped polarize people. You can lose your morals, your belief on social media. Case in point, uh, you can put a story out, and because the way social media is set up, whatever you like, it will show you so much of that until you start believing it. If they told you
mhm.
there was a bunch of babies being born, and they was weighing 22 pounds, and they coming out the womb at 22 pounds, and you know people would start to believe it. One thing that happened with under Trump, and he started to believe it. I don't know if it's the Chinese or the Russians that infiltrated the United States, and this is a deeper thing that goes down because the United States has been compromised. I mean, this is a country that will lose a war without a bullet or a shell being fired because they're going into the minds of the people. See, the people have become so weak. America doesn't really have any value.
Mm.
You
Nope, a
know,
lot of them
it
don't.
doesn't. I mean, just think about it. No values. America is a compromised nation, and people know that. You know, we very uh people selfish. We easy to be polarized. Somebody will tell you, say, well, you know what? They stealing all the money. They getting all them welfare checks, and they getting all them babies on 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 welfare, and people start believing that, and they'll rally behind somebody that blows a dog whistle and calls them to action based on the fact that they've been indoctrinated by this social media platform. People thinking somebody else, the immigrants, taking all your money. They taking all your jobs. Well, the jobs been gone, and
Hmm.
the politicians and the lawyers and the corporate greedy people have already taken the money.
Yeah,
It's not the people that you think. So, when those things are compromised, you put a country into a tailspin. So America is just spinning around. And when Donald Trump came, he was just right for the party.
yeah, yeah.
America, their morals have been compromised. They didn't have no values. All the values that America said they had, they didn't have those values. They didn't stand on
Mm-mm.
them, or they would not have elected him.
Right. And as far as taking a job, I mean, people, their jobs weren't taken. You just didn't want them, and they got them. It weren't
Ooh,
taken away from you. Because a lot of people wouldn't go to work, and if somebody else will go to work, that's not taken. It was left on the
yeah.
plate, on the table there for you to get.
And they wanted
Yes.
more money. People say, I want $25 an hour. I want
Hmm.
$25 an hour. I want to go to Burger King. You need to pay me $25 an hour, $15 an hour. I'm not gonna work. So, and then people decided to these factory jobs to take them to India, to take them to China. It's nothing. Now talk about morals. Uh, you know, Under the Trump administration, they say America first, but guess where they buy all their paraphernalia and hats from and
China.
clothing? China.
Yeah.
You're
A
not
lot of,
putting one American person to work.
yeah, because I know Trump, when he manufacturing his ties and all this other stuff
Oh
made in
yeah,
China, you
made
know.
in China. The steel that he used in his buildings over the years. So when you look at morals, uh, laws, politics, it means nothing.
Right. Yeah. And one of the other things, since we running a little late, this is election time, and there's a lot of ads out there right now. And and
Oh,
and they are lying on the opposition. I mean, it's so people need to pay attention to that. Cause I be listening, I'm going, that girl didn't say that, or
right. You got to fact check
that's
them.
wrong. No, they
Right.
take stuff and they twist it and make people look bad, and it's wrong. I mean, that's a moral thing right there. Why you gonna twist and make a person look bad? I mean, what about just
Right.
saying the good stuff that you did rather than trying to twist lies and make somebody else look bad? You know, that's like they said. You point one finger at one person, you got three or four of them coming back at you. Okay, you point that
True.
one finger at them, talking about how bad they are, but look at these other fingers you got pointed at you. How bad are you? They shouldn't be doing that. Cause I be looking at that and I'm going, why do they do that? I couldn't run for office. I discovered that a long time ago because politicians are so crooked, because
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen them try to burn somebody's house down. I've had to go to
Wow.
court for a person a couple of times because his opposition kept saying that he wasn't in that district or something else, and I'm going to court to verify, testify on his behalf. You know,
Mm.
for me, to go through that, it's like, why y'all doing me like that? I be crying. It's like, cause I guess I'm too much of an honest and good person. I try to
You
see the
got
good in the
values. You got
person.
moral value. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
You're a
I have
decent
moral right.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
try
got
to
to get
be.
corrupt. You gotta be scrupulous. You gotta have no sorrow, no pity, no empathy.
I
Yeah.
can't do that. I can't, because I got out of nursing because I will be hurting worse than the people will be hurting. You know, so
Uh,
I couldn't do it. You know, so I guess I got that gentle, even though I'm hard in the head, but I have a gentle spirit. You know, so
oh yeah. Well, you got a
I don't
moral
understand why
compass.
they would be so
Well,
hard.
you practice empathy, you practice compassion. See, that's being moral. That's being ethical. See, they kicked that out a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, they did. Whatever it takes to get them in the office
Yep,
and to get
whatever it
in there.
takes.
And
Lying, cheating, corruption, paying somebody off, it don't matter.
yep,
And
and
now with
that's
social
exactly.
media, they got so many things, and people not going to take the time to Google or, well, you got to get outside of Google. You got to do your own research, public records and things of that nature to find out what these
Hmm.
people are doing. It's people like he pointed out earlier, didn't know that Senator Warnock had been instrumental in making sure they could get cheaper insulin. And you got 60% of the people in Georgia, well, it might be 50 or 60% of the people in Georgia diabetics, older people that need that insulin and medical attention, but you got to do your research and you can't get tricked. When somebody says something, whether it's your pastor, the teacher, the principal, you got to look at uh you got to use your own moral compass to fact check them and make sure that they got your best interest, because
Yeah,
most time they don't.
right, exactly. And I know with this Senate race, uh, reason that Donald Trump won't Herschel Walker in there to be his puppet, so he can have that red state, to do what he
Well,
wants, so
it'll
they
be a
can have
yes
the
boy.
House,
Yeah,
huh?
he's a yes boy. He's a yes man or a no man. See,
Mm,
really, when you think about it, all he has to do is say yes when they want to hear yes, and say no when they want to know. Okay.
yeah,
Now, that's it. Nothing else. It doesn't matter whether he beat his wife, had 5 abortions. Uh, I was surprised the Republicans, would tolerate this. These are supposed to be conservative people. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. What is conservatism? I don't think Ronald Reagan would have endorsed uh, Herschel Walker.
I wouldn't think so. Well, I
I
wouldn't.
mean, yeah, and we thought Ronald Reagan was a hard conservative. He cut more programs and did, a whole lot of stuff, but his politics were not as severe. I mean, the moral compass of America wasn't as tarnished or, let's say, exposed as it is today.
Hmm.
See, we see how corrupt, how and that's the beauty of social media. You can see how, like I said, when you look at Mitch McConnell, you say, I thought Mitch McConnell was Donald Trump's yes boy, and Donald Trump talked about his wife like she was a dog.
Mm.
I'm surprised they're not in the streets fighting.
Yeah, but Donald Trump get away with a lot of stuff.
Oh
See,
yeah.
'cause he's a big bully and they fall for it. They don't know all these people against one man. How can this whole big old army let one little man control them? It's like a
Mm.
cult all on his own. You know, no. Somebody got to be strong and stand up for the right thing. And if these people continue to do that, they need to be gone. They just get them out of office because right now it's too much at stake. It is too much at stake. You got women lives are at stake, the laws and rules and regulations, voting rights is at stake. Everything, even Social
Oh yeah.
Security is at stake. And you're
Oh
gonna put
yeah.
in there who's gonna say anything. Gun laws. people being killed with these guns and they saying it's okay. No, it's not okay. And that governor of y'all's, See, I had a problem with him in the beginning, when he was
From the
pointing at,
get go.
huh?
From the get go, as they
Yes,
say.
from the get-go. I had problem with him, especially he had this gun going to shoot at this guy if he come dating his daughter. Let a man come shooting at my son. I don't care who he is. He could be the president of the United States. He gonna hear something from me.
Okay. All right.
No. And then now they let these people have guns. We already got a lot of mental deranged people, and then you're gonna let them have these guns so they could go out and kill more people. All these school shootings and stuff. No, don't put my baby in life like danger. My baby's life in danger like that. That's totally wrong. You can't do that. No. So Trump need to go. I mean, he need to stay out, go to jail. Kemp need to go, because he don't want people to have abortions and stuff either, So he's endangering people's lives too. Women need to stand up, and if you stand up and you put some pressure on these men, some of them gonna stand. You can't just let them have their way like that because your lives are at stake. Their lives are at stake. And that's what I got to say on that one. And that time is about up. You got anything else you want to say before I tell them to buy my book?
Yeah. Make sure you vote. Make sure you register and all that.
Yes, definitely vote. And also, they're still buying water filters for Mississippi. Go to lifebeyondwater.org. lifebeyondwater.org and buy a water filter for the people in Mississippi because they are still struggling to have clean water. And on the 6th, they are doing testing. They're testing the water in Jackson State. So if you get a chance to go down there and get your water tested, anybody's in that area. But the main thing is getting those water filters because it's going to be a long time before they have clear water. In the meantime, my book, Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. Get that book. Teachers now are using this book in the school. It's helping them with their curriculum. Parents are getting this book to help them raise their children. Grandparents are using this book to help with their families, helping with themselves. It's a powerful book. Okay. And also just vote. Okay? That's the main thing. Get out and vote. Have your morals. Think about the people and the morals that they stand for. Okay, think about them. What do they stand for? Are they going to help you out? Are they going to make you proud to represent you? Okay, don't just stand for anything. Don't just sit around and let people do anything and not just say anything. You got to say something, stand up and say, that's not right. I don't believe in you. I'm not going to vote for you, and I'm not going to let any of my friends vote for you. If you can do that, okay? But in the meantime, stand up for your values, okay? And that's going to be it for today. This is Sylvia Hayes. You're watching Good News at Primetime along with my co-host, Reginald. Until next week, y'all have a good one.